What's up, guys? Jeremy Conn here. It is the Lowdown. It's all brought to you by Pickdawgz.com. Appreciate you guys checking this out. As I said yesterday, I'm recording this on Tuesday, September 16th. It is my birthday. I hate birthdays with a passion. It's weird. I was saying something to someone. I said, I get so many text messages from people I don't hear from. And it was like, you don't hear from them. Like, you look back at the last text and it'll be like, oh, they texted me September 16th of last year, or they texted me on Father's Day, to which somebody said it could be worse. You could have nobody text you. And I went, yeah, I'm kind of being an ass about it then. But yeah, it's an interesting, my birthday could have been much better had the Texans not given up that last touchdown. Just so frustrating last night. All right, let me do the blocking and tackling, as I say, and then I'll get into what happened with the NFL on Monday night and me missing my triple play, which, anyway, we'll get to it. Please click the like and subscribe button. That helps us out. The notification button will let you know anytime one of these gets posted. I've already talked to Zeno about us recording our Top Dogs. If you guys didn't know that, I record a college football and an NFL podcast with Mark Zeno. It's basically me just busting his balls for a half an hour and then giving out football games. And yeah, so I said I owe you guys one this weekend, so I'll have an extra game in one of either the Saturday or Sunday podcast. Some of the other things that sit here and talk about, the concrete inner circle. If you text inner circle to the number over there, you can find out more about that. It's a rated system where you get to see which games I like the most and what I would put on them. I do say this for people. I don't want to waste anyone's time. If it's a little bit more for high rollers, because I know the price of it's not for some. If you're betting $50 a game, nothing wrong with that. But this isn't for you. I wouldn't pay for all this. It just wouldn't be worth your time and money. That being said, you can definitely check out all the premium picks over there. Fell off the top of the NFL leaderboard because I went 0-2 in the NFL on Monday night, and I'm still up there. I just not at the top, and it's frustrating too because, as I said on my show this morning, week 1 Atlanta and what went wrong there. Week 2, the Kansas City Chiefs giving up 101 passing yards and not a 100-yard rusher, and somehow, some way, finding a way to lose that game. Very un-Chiefs-like, if you will, but it figures it happens when I'm on them. And then last night with the Texans, the block punt that turned into nothing, going back, scoring again. I mean, they went right down the field and scored. And if C.J. Stroud could have, he targeted Nico Collins 3 times. So I called the Nico Collins anytime touchdown. That's great. He gets the first one. I think Costi was on first touchdown, so if he got that, more power to him. But he had 9 targets and 3 catches, and C.J. Stroud was throwing that pill everywhere, way over his head, in the dirt. Well, I guess it's a dome, but you get what I'm saying. It's just frustrating, man. And I'm not saying that I was supposed to win because obviously the Bucs were winning most of the game, but I really did feel like the Texans dominated that second half, except for that last drive, and this is what happens. And I don't know why you go to some sort of prevent or what they were running there with the fact that they still had 3 timeouts. But yeah, frustrating to say the least. And what pisses me off, and I say this, I hope this comes across the wrong way because I'm not trying to talk down or anything, but I make a nice living with what I do. I don't do this necessarily for the money. I've said this before. I do this because it does give me leverage in case anything happens in radio and building this up. And I like doing it. I like breaking down games and talking about it. But I hate when I lose people money, more so than I like winning money or losing my own money for that matter. I take that stuff seriously. So last night I had probably more buys than I think I've ever had for my triple play. And hopefully you guys come back because it's not always going to be like that. But total swing and a miss on the Chargers game. Had the Atlanta over, that hit, so I was feeling good. Then the Texans went down and scored, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, hey, it's going to be a happy birthday to me because I'm going to have a winning night here. And then, of course, it didn't go that way, and I went to bed angry. With all that being said, lots of baseball coming up, lots more football to get to. I'll start posting some of my NFL and college plays today and tomorrow, meaning Wednesday and Thursday, right? Today's Tuesday. Yeah, I'll start posting a bunch today. Just to get them out there so people can see what I'm on. If you want to get it, I'll have a triple play for most of them. I'll have a 5-pack, but as I always say, depending on when you want to do it, and it doesn't have to be for me, it could be for any of the cappers over there. You can go buy the 3-day pass, and that way you just get everything for a cheaper price. I think mine's $79.99. I wonder if everybody else is kind of in line with that. When I do a 5-game for the day, I charge $99.99. So it's like basically buying 4 and getting 1 for free. And I do that pretty much for every NFL week. And I was talking about how I was undefeated on weeknight games, and now 4-2. I'm still hitting it a nice percentage on weeknights, but yeah, last night not kind to me. And I really do like betting baseball in the month of September. I think there are certain things that people don't look at where we can catch an edge. So if you want to check out some of those plays, feel free to go over there. Let me stop talking your ears off about how everything went wrong for me the other day. I did get trimmed up. That's what I always do on my birthday. I don't. It's funny because I'm not a big gift guy and material things and all that nonsense. I mean, I drive a beat up RAV4 that used to be my wife's car so she could get a new car because I don't care what I'm driving. I wear the same crap every day. In fact, it was funny is if you go, well, I don't know if you guys can go back. So like in my folder here with all the podcasts that I've done, and I go through and I start deleting them just so there's enough memory there and it doesn't fill up and take up too much space. I look back and I was like, did I wear the same shirt 3 days in a row? And then I realized, I don't know how it happened, but I have a blue Adidas shirt. I have a blue Pick Dawgz shirt. And I have a blue, what's the other one I have? It's from my football team when I played flag football. And it says Yoba Goya across the front. That was the name of our team. So yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm like, it looks like I wore the same shirt. I didn't. And if I do wear the same shirt on back-to-back days, trust me, it was washed the day before. I just ended up grabbing it because more times than not, I'm grabbing and going. All right, one other thing to bring up. I like talking about this. This is my $1,300 T-shirt. I bought tickets to see the Avett Brothers at Camden Yards, one of my favorite bands, on my birthday. They were playing there at September 16th a few years back. And so I spent $1,250 on tickets and $50 on this T-shirt. So that's why I call it my $1,300 T-shirt. My wife got absolutely shit-faced. We went to a bar in pregame. We went to the Oriole game, and then the concert was afterwards. By the third inning, my wife's head was down, and she was just like, snoring, and she was out. And my wife's she's a classy lady. So I just looked at everybody, and I said, I'm sorry for myself, and I'm sorry for you guys, but I'm not going to get to see this concert. So every year on my birthday, I wear this shirt to remind my wife that it's a $1,300 shirt, and I didn't get to see my band play. Other than that, let me get to the games because I know somebody's going to write, hey, make me a bicycle, clown. I'm getting to it, man. All right, let's start it off. I like to tell you guys, too, what I was on Tuesday, as I did have a couple of plays. I really liked a bunch of unders, the Mets under, the A's and Red Sox under, Seattle, Kansas City under. I was on the White Sox and the Rangers, and I liked the Aces and the Storm to go under their total. I did find some gems, at least what I thought, and we'll see how it plays out with prop bets. I've really been killing it with prop bets. I probably got to find a way to put them up on the site and just start selling them or giving them out or whatever, because I try to give them out on the shows that I'm doing on the day of. But Mike King over K's look great. Ohtani over K's look great. And Merrill Kelly, even though it was juiced up, for whatever reason, my algorithm loved him against the Astros. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, let's get to the games we want to talk about for today. And games start early, I think 12:30 maybe, 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. But we started off with the Chicago Cubs at the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's Matthew Boyd versus Johan Oviedo. If you look on the surface, and I think if you look deeper, Oviedo's numbers have been good. Matthew Boyd's numbers have been good. The wind blowing in at about 4 miles an hour at 75 degrees. And we have two. I don't want to call the Cubs light hitting because the Cubs can score in bunches. They have a bunch of power in their lineup, but there are strikeouts there. There are some weaker spots that I think you can get through that lineup and turn the lineup over without allowing some things to happen towards the bottom of that order. But on the flip side, Pittsburgh, it's just kind of every once in a while you see the bats show up. There's just not much there. I think the under's the right side, so that's where I would lean. If you're going to bet this game, I lean to the Chicago Cubs and Pittsburgh Pirates to go under the total. Now, for game 2, it's the Baltimore Orioles versus the Chicago White Sox. Tyler Wells versus Martin Perez, 80 degrees, wind blowing in at 5 miles an hour. So here's what I want to say. As I looked at yesterday, Tyler Wells was a scheduled pitcher. I don't know why he got scratched and moved back a day. I don't know if there was some general soreness with him. Remember, we talked about attacking him in game 2, coming off the IL. It didn't work out for us. But maybe there was something after game 2 that was barking on him that they gave him an extra day. Maybe Dean Kramer just got ready early, and that's why he pitched on Tuesday. But I've said this before, the Orioles against lefties, no bueno. They just can't hit them. And they've been better At the beginning of the year, they made any left-handed pitcher. At one point, they made any left-handed pitcher look like Sandy Koufax in his prime. And that might sound like a joke. No, go look at – if you go back to the first, I think, 2.5 months, the Orioles against left-handed pitching, even the guys that sucked, Logan Allen came in and shoved it down their throat. Any soft tossing lefty, it could be, you could get a guy like Garrett Crochet or Chris Sale against them, and yeah, they'd scuffle and have their issues, but there's no harm, no foul in scuffling against really good teams. But they just don't hit left-handed pitching. And these guys that are soft tossers kill me because I really feel like the Orioles really struggle against them. And Martin Perez has been doing this for years. Double play. Watch him pitch 7 innings and not strike anyone out. Seen some crazy stuff, but solid pitcher throughout his career. I think this is another play where we look at the White Sox. And I told you I was on the White Sox on Tuesday. I just think that's the better side. I'm worried about the day they gave off to Tyler Wells, and I could just be misreading this, and I don't have any inside information on that or anything, even though I have a friend that works for the team. My co-host works for the team. But I don't have any knowledge of anything being wrong with him, but the fact that they moved him back a day after he was scheduled it gives me a little bit of pause. So I'm going to tell you to take the White Sox. I do think the under is interesting, but again, I'm not taking it because of what I saw with the stuff that's going on with Tyler Wells being pushed back a day. We've seen this before where guys come out and just get shelled. Sometimes it's just placement and timing where it's like, hey, I need an extra day. But when it's a guy that's just coming back, it seems kind of weird. And again, it's probably just general soreness. They moved him back, which ironically is Tyler O'Neill's nickname here in town, general soreness. That's what it always said when he would miss games. All right, so let me get to this. I would take the White Sox there. Getting to Game 3, San Diego Padres at the New York Mets, Nick Pivetta versus David Peterson. 69 degrees, and this is the game. There's 2 games that have decent wind. It was not at 10 miles an hour, but this one's like 8 to 9 miles an hour in, and it's kind of going to like first base. I really like David Peterson. He has been a roller coaster this year, and some might even say more recently going down, but I do think the wind blowing in will help him. And he struggles there because of these teams vying for postseason play. I think he gets pulled early if he does scuffle, and the Mets go to that bullpen. On the flip side, talking about Nick Pivetta, just one of the more solid pitchers. I remember watching him when he was in Philly, and I'm like, And then he signs on with the Red Sox and signed on with a couple other teams, and he reminded me a lot of a better version of Chris Bassett, if that makes sense to anyone, more of a strikeout pitcher. But I really like Nick Pivetta. I wish the Orioles would have went after him in the offseason, but apparently, he went to the West Coast or wanted to go. I think this is another underplay. If we're looking at the 2 teams, I think teams get tight around this time. This is, whether you believe me or not, or whether you buy into it or not, this is a playoff baseball game because every game for these teams down the stretch. I mean, the Mets need to keep winning to stay in that spot. As there's a bunch of teams hovering just behind them with a couple of games, so we shall see. But I do like the under in this spot. And stop me if you've heard this before, my free play, I'm going to like the under here as well. It's Atlanta Braves at the Washington Nationals. We get Hurston Waldrop versus Brad Lord. And Lord's been fine. I mean, he's been decent, and maybe better than decent if I want to give him credit. The same thing with Waldrop. I've attacked his over Ks in a couple spots, and he's hit every time we've done it. I'm glad I wasn't on him the day he had 1K. But he seems like a solid pitcher, and maybe the more and more people see him, he ends up getting beat up. But I like him, and I like the under here. That's where I'm going to lean. The wind's blowing in at about 9 miles an hour. It's 70 degrees there. So we could see it get into the 60s and be a little bit cooler, which those are things that I like to clearly look at. When we get colder temps, the ball doesn't carry as well. So there's some stadiums, like if you're playing in Citi Field with the Mets or against the Mets, and it gets into October, you're going to really have to get a hold of one of those or hope that you get the wind going the right way to help you out. And you'll see it. You'll see the Latin ball players dressed up like ninjas because they're not used to this cold weather. It gets kind of strange out there. But I do think these are playoff atmosphere type games because you're trying to stay ahead of some of these teams or at least keep the pace if you're chasing someone else. One of the things I wish I would have attacked and I didn't, and I know you guys are going to see this late. I might do it in some daily fantasy or something. But with the Phillies winning their division and locking it up, there's usually a good party afterwards. I think Shohei Ohtani, when I talked about his over Ks, and my model had him at a full strikeout over his K prop today. And and that's why I jumped all over it. But the more and more I think about it, the Dodgers are probably the right side here, regardless of Christopher Sanchez was supposed to pitch on Tuesday, and I'm talking about Tuesday's game. Sorry, I do this all the time, but I'm talking about Tuesday's game, and he got scratched. I think guys tied one on and had a good time, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see some fuddy-duddy lineup going up against Ohtani and the Dodgers. So keep your eye. Well, I can't say keep your eye on that. We'll check it tomorrow and see how it worked out. But the free play on the under there. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll start talking some more football tomorrow when we mix it in. Obviously, Wednesday going into Thursday, we'll have Thursday night. There's a college game too. Not a great one, but there is one, and it's going to have a line on it, which means we can bet it. So I'm all about that. But that being said, I'm going to start to mix in some college and pro football. If you guys want to check everything out over at pickdawgz.com, please do. You can leave a message here. I try to respond to some people when I see them. I'm doing some of these damn podcasts, like jumping on. I'm doing 2 with Zeno every week. I jump on the morning show on Mondays and Fridays. If you guys haven't been watching the morning show, I'm assuming most of you do, but check it out. It's a lot of fun. I love the ball busting that goes on, and now I'm getting more and more comfortable to start throwing some jabs in there as well. But check out Pick Dawgz. Lots of great handicappers over there, guys that have, finding an edge, and you find the guys that you like. And again, I may not be a guy for you. There may be someone else that you win money with and you feel comfortable with. There's also the chance where, we get to a point where somebody gets hot and you're jumping all over it, and eventually those heaters, you come off of them. But as I've told people, when I'm missing my best bet, it is time to jump on it, because I'm not going to have a losing season. I'm just not. It's happened once, and I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just confident in what I do, and we'll have some winners for you. But appreciate you guys watching this. I hope you win some cash. I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast.